It's a snow day and I'm going to make protein shakes for us because I'm going to be spending the whole day in the kitchen and I'm going to need my energy. Now I can assure you that I did not make these drinks to match the bathrobe or match some of the decor in my house, but the reason it is this color, what I have in here is a little protein packet, and then I have some dehydrated powdered strawberry, dehydrated powdered blueberries, and dehydrated powdered spinach. It's the spinach that made it a lovely color. So this is what I am going to be giving Ben and myself for breakfast this morning. Also behind me here, I have my paper whites. I'm finally going to get those into a container, and I found what I think is going to be the perfect container this year and put those in that a little bit later today. I say today, I hope today, but they're here waiting for me, and they'll be good. Now you can do this with other blenders as well, but I do love my Vitamix, and the cleanup is so easy. Now I just gave the top a really quick, just under the faucet, but I'm just gonna add a drop of some detergent, dish detergent, and to clean this up, because I'm gonna be using this pretty much daily from now, you just give it a whisk. And now all I need to do is rinse it out, and it's clean for my use tomorrow morning. Rinsed out the bubbles, give it a good dry, and now it's ready for tomorrow. Easy peasy. I'm just gonna leave that a little bit there. Well, hello, kindred spirits. I thought today I'm going to make some oven roasted tomato soup. The recipe is from one of my past issues of New England Fine Living magazine. And I need to mention, I know so many of you still have this. I keep getting emails that you have them, so that's how I know. If you look at this, this is from the fall 2015 issue. If you have this recipe in this issue, there is a typo. And I was looking at this myself saying there is no way there are 3 cups of extra virgin olive oil in this soup. So this is one of those things that got past my editing, the person who was doing my editing, and the graphic designer. So I did figure out what the correct amount was for this, because I did also make my own roasted tomato soup in the past, but I'm gonna follow this one today. So right now I'm gonna get my things together, but we're gonna be needing some tomatoes, garlic, fresh fennel, which I didn't have, but I'm going to be putting some fennel seeds in a little herb sachet. 2 red bell peppers. I did not have a red jalapeno, but I'm going to put in some little jalapeno slices that I have because we're going to be pureeing it all up, so that will be fine. The extra virgin olive oil and some sugar and a little bit of salt. So I'm going to get all that together. Then I'm going to get my herbs together for the sachet. And speaking of herbs, this is the type of weather that makes a gardener really long for their garden. I went out to buy some basil, and it's so sad. You know, they come in these packets. You'll see these sometimes in the produce department. Well, the only basil I could come across was a very, very sad bunch of basil. I have it in some water. I put it in there last night, just hoping it would revive it a little bit. No such luck. It was in bad shape. But seeing that this is going in a sachet and it's just going to be in there to get some of the oils out of the leaves, it will work fine. I'll just take off some of the really dead ones. I even have some of the thyme in here, which seems to be doing well. But I'm going to do that later. So I'm going to, once again, get everything out here, and then I'm going to start prepping the meal. Now these may be tiny. Oops, my dishwasher. Now these may be tiny, but I am always so excited when I get to use the garlic that I grew last year. And I'm so excited I didn't plant any this year. So I definitely will next season. But it calls for 5 cloves, and these are tiny. I'll probably use 6. Well, I think I have everything at arm's length here, if not close in the drawers. I always have to go running for something, as you most likely know. All right, so I'm going to start prepping the food, and I'm going to put everything first in a big bowl to see what size roasting pan I'll then put it in. Now, I've used this before, and a lot of you have commented on the bowl and the great size. I wanted to show you. It's just plastic. I got this years ago at a party store for when I do large parties. This makes the perfect chip bowl, potato salad bowl for things that are really in large quantity. And I have found them very useful also for mixing things, as long as it's not heavy and I pick it up, because it would probably crack. But it works out perfect for things like this. I have a large metal bowl also, but I thought it'd be fun for you to be able to see when everything goes in. So we're going to start with our 5 Roma tomatoes, also known as plum tomatoes. And these are great for making soups and sauces because they have less of a water content than your beefsteak tomatoes or others. So this says for 5, and once again, these are small, but I'm going to do 6. I have 2 large ones there. So I'm just going to have these and put them in the bowl. Like I said, I've made this myself, but not this recipe. I made one up on my own, which did come out delicious, but it had a lot more ingredients, a lot more steps. So I'm going to be doing this one. And I've never made it because I've always eaten it at the restaurant. They would not give out the recipe for years. And then we had our launch party at their facility, and finally they gave me the recipe. Unfortunately, they're no longer in business. It was a great business. All right, so I have my 5/6 Roma tomatoes or plum tomatoes. Now I'm going to cut a red pepper. I've got 2 of them here. I'm going to take out the innards. Let me just move this stuff aside here. I'm just going to take the insides out here. And this is all going to be blended after I roast them. I'm going to roast them covered, and then I'm going to uncover it, roast it some more, and then we'll be putting it in a blender. So it doesn't have to be neat or pretty. I'm just taking off little stems because I am that picky. I've been wanting to do this for a couple of days now, but I have been very busy with orders that I needed to get out. And thank you so much to those of you who did order things, and more is coming in. If you went to buy like one of the rabbit oil paintings, reproduction oil paintings, I should say, I will be ordering more. But I have a little news for you. I did, in fact, rent a place for my business, for the online store, and every once in a while we'll be doing some on-site retail, but not as much as the online. And reason being is we are going to move forward with more of the seasonal boxes. Oh, I did leave the sticker there. We'll be doing more of the seasonal boxes, and I just could not have that happening here in the house anymore. Just having 2 large boxes come in of the artwork the other day, it took up the whole kitchen for 3 days, and it's not something I want to do. And I do want to thank you, because this channel is funding the growth of my business. Everything comes from YouTube, and then I put it right back in the business. So I'm now able to get a very large office with an office attached, and it also comes with a warehouse attached. So that's happening in March. I'll give you more information. I think I'm going to be doing what I'm going to call Work Wednesdays, and every once in a while, randomly, we will, I will be producing a video on Wednesdays that's more entrepreneur related. So if you have a YouTube channel or want to start a YouTube channel or online store or business in general, I am going to start doing some little series on things like that. Like one I'm going to do on scammers. Oh, they're horrible. All right, let me just get this little garlic processed here. I got to de-skin it, and it's going to take me a while because it's so tiny. Oops. I'm just going to, actually it's coming apart very easily. I actually feel bad taking it apart. It was so pretty. I'm just going to actually chop them a little bit more too. Now, all I'm doing to de-skin my what is this? My garlic. I'm just using my wooden spoon, turning it a little bit upside down and giving it a whack. There's so many different ways you can do this, but I have found that this is a little bit user-friendly for myself. Once again, taking those ends off because I'm that silly, even though this is going in a blender. Oh, so getting back, so Wednesdays, I don't know when I'll start it, and like I said, they will be random. I'm going to do some videos so that if you click on and you see it's a Work Wednesday, I'll have kind of a little explanation of what that particular one is, and then you can decide if you want to watch it or not. I realize I do have a lot of entrepreneur information that I can share with others, and I thought having it on a particular day would also be helpful. But I'm looking forward to finally getting our house back. The office upstairs will be used for another getaway. We can make it part of another bedroom if we'd like. Also, I am working on another publication, and I find that when I have all the store stuff around me, I'm getting distracted. And I want to be able to focus on that publication. Oops, I got one clove here that snuck out. One clove that did not want to get cut. Cloves are really sticky too. That's one thing I don't like working with them. I have tactile issues. Once again, I don't have to be cutting these because they'll be blended together, but I just want to have them dispersed within the roasting pan. All right. Now I'm going to do 3/4 cups of extra virgin olive oil. So much better than 3, which I didn't do, but I looked at the recipe saying that is so wrong. I probably saw that in the past also. And then we're going to do 1/4 cup of sugar. On a side note, I'm going to try less sugar next time. I think it was too much. I'm going to go for 1/8 cup, and I'm going to add more tomatoes. Snowplow going by. I did have another blood work follow-up today, and luckily it got canceled because it's so nice being home on a snowy day. How did I get this spoon to fit in here before? There we go. So I've decided I'm going to bake this today. I'm going to make Willow some natural dog treats that I'll show you either today or another day. I'll let you know right now. And then I think I'm going to plant my paperwhites. Okay, just get my mess out of my way. Now I'm just going to put in some, it calls for kosher salt. I didn't have any. I'm going to put a little sea salt in just to give it a little extra zing of flavor. And then I'll do that to taste later. All right, let me just make sure I'm not missing anything because I was just going by memory there. Let's see. Tomatoes, garlic cloves, don't have fennel, peppers, jalapeno. I did forget something. I knew it. Okay. Oh, there's not many left here. So I'm just going to be putting on some sliced jalapeno peppers just to give this a little bit of heat. Okay, perfect. And now I'm just going to stir this together. And now I have a better idea of what size roasting pan I'm going to need. And I'm going to put them in the pan, put some plastic over it just to seal in some steam. And then I'm going to put tin foil. And after an hour and a half, I think it says, let me see here. Yep, after an hour and a half, I then take it out of the oven. I'm going to take off the plastic and the tin foil, and then I'm going to roast it again. All right, so I'm going to let this sit here for a minute. I'm going to make my little herb sachet, and then once my oven gets up to temp, we'll pop this in, and then I'm going to make Willow's dog treats. Okay, I am now getting ready to make my sachet. This is bigger than I'm going to need actually, but that's okay. I will trim it afterwards. I'm going to double it up because I don't have seeds for some of the items that I need, such as my coriander. So I'm just going to make this a little bit doubled up, like I said. All right, so this recipe now calls for 2 full sprigs of basil. So a sprig of basil, when you're cutting it, is usually from the stem and all the leaves that are off of it. So this poor little guy, I'm gonna have to try to figure out about a stem. And I'm gonna give a little bit more because it's definitely lacking some of its flavor. But if you were to cut this out of a garden, oh my goodness, that would be a sprig. So I'm gonna need 2 of these. I'm going to take off just some of the good leaves to make up what is about 2 sprigs. This is sad. They shouldn't even have this on their shelves. And then it calls for, let's see, 8 sprigs of thyme. Once again, it's starting at the very long stem, and you want a long stem of thyme to be a sprig. These are quite short, but I'm going to go with that amount stated. So I'm going to take off all the good leaves and use the basil here because I don't even know if I'm going to get what equals the amount needed. I might have to go back to some of the others. Yes, oh, the smell of basil, it is delicious. I have some pesto cubes still in the freezer. I was like, ooh, could I use that? But this will be fine. I'm just gonna do the equivalent of 2. I feel bad using such bad basil, but if I didn't, I wouldn't have any in our soup for tonight. Oh, that's when I put my little bowl away here. Just to get the stuff out of my way. And what I did do is I grabbed some of my garden's dried basil, just in case I didn't think I'd have enough, but I do think I have plenty here. But I guess it wouldn't hurt to put some of our garden basil in, because then we'll have some of our garden basil and then some of our garden garlic. Okay, and now it is calling for 2 bay leaves, and the bay leaves that I got from the store, I always think this is funny. They pack so many bay leaves in a container. I rarely ever need bay leaves except for when I'm doing soups or some meals. That's a lot. So I have some old ones in a jar I'm going to replace with these good ones. So 2 bay leaves. And then it was saying, what did I say, 8 sprigs of thyme. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and these are only half sprigs. 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to double those up because I'm going to throw another in for measure, good measure. And I can once again, I'm going to hang these and let them dry, and I'll add them to my thyme. Now we have a tablespoon of black peppercorns. So let's see if I can do this without them rolling everywhere. I'm going to add those. And then we have fennel seed. We need half a tablespoon of fennel seed. Throw those in. And it's supposed to be half a tablespoon of coriander seed. I don't have seeds, I only have ground. So when you're going to ground items, you want to lessen the quality. So if it was 1 tablespoon, I'd be doing half a tablespoon of the coriander. So this is a half, I'm going to do about a 1/4 tablespoon. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. That's one thing with herbs. You can add them into your soup as you're cooking it and tasting it also. There goes the plow again. And then we have some, let's see, half a tablespoon of red pepper flakes. Once again, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it here. As I know Ben loves a little heat to the soups. Now I'm just going to tie this up. This is a bigger piece of cloth that I needed, but it will do its job. Just want to make sure it doesn't have big openings for things to come out, and I'm just going to trim off some of this extra here. That's a very big case of it. Go big or go home. Okay. Now let's see the roasting pan. I'm going to go with this one here. Let's see how this fills up. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the oven now for an hour and a half, and then I will be taking it out, uncovering it, and then I will be cooking it for another 30 minutes before I go to the next step. I made the mistake of putting peanut butter in my mouth before I started filming. I am getting ready to make some dog treats for Willow. Now, this only has 3 ingredients: peanut butter, pumpkin puree, 4, and then rice flour. Ben just went out, where did it go? Ben just went out and picked up some rice flour for me. This one is from King Arthur, which is a New England-based company. My wishes were, for today, I was going to use this that I purchased on Amazon, but this makes more of a dough for cookie cutters. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make some heart-shaped ones and some pumpkins for the pumpkin puree, only because I don't have a dog cookie cutter. Out of that big container, I don't have any in there, so that's something I will get in the future. But if I have enough of some of these recipe ingredients to try another batch, and maybe add, more ingredients, and egg. Did I say egg? I forget if I said egg. I should probably start over because I was a little distracted. We are going to need pumpkin puree, egg, peanut butter, rice flour. Okay, and if I do have extra, I'm going to try to do something with maybe a little bit more egg and try to put it in this, because she has trained us that every time she comes in from doing some business at the office outside, she gets a little treat, and I figured something healthy would be really good. So I'm going to see if I can make it a little more liquefied to bake in this and give it a try. We'll see. We are going to do a whole can of puree, and then it's a half a cup of peanut butter. Now, I went and got Teddy's peanut butter because there's only peanuts and a little bit of salt in here. That's it, a sea salt. If I looked at my Skippy, which I love, there's so much more. So we are going to be changing to Teddy. And I used to tease my mother. That's all she would have in the house, and it was always oily at top, and I didn't know to mix it, but I'm turning into my mother. We're going to Teddy. 1 egg. And then I have 2.5 cups of the rice flour, but it depends on the consistency, you know, add more. So I might see if I have the consistency I want to try, just the treats here. I don't know if you can hear Willow's outside barking. Ben is playing with her and she's having a blast in the snow. So let me open this up and get this started. And luckily, this bakes at the same temperature that our soup is on right now. They're both coming in the door now, so I'll get a little distracted for a moment. It's okay.
Sorry for the barking in your background.
That's okay, I explained it. They know you were coming in. Okay, so I just put in a can of the pumpkin puree. Now we're gonna put in the 1/2 cup of peanut butter. I got creamy. We're gonna do the 1 egg. I'm gonna mix this together a little bit and then I'm going to add the flour. I'm not going to do it today, but I'm gonna do a video very soon on some of my consignment shopping finds. I have some really great things that I got for the house. One of them being this shirt. It's a Garnet Hill shirt, which is also a New England company, but everything's not made here in New England, unfortunately. All right, so this is all mixed up. And I'm going to slowly put in my flour. Once again, this is a rice flour. Ooh, we remember what happened last time. It went all over. So I'm gonna do this with a scoop. I don't need this all over me. See, I learn by my mistakes. Actually not. I'm going to insert a photo here right now. I was trying to replace the large canisters with smaller canisters of flour. And same thing like I did on one of my recipes, it just exploded everywhere. I'm gonna try to get this at a consistency that I can roll it out, but I'm tempted to take a little of this and see how it works in my molds here. I really wanted to have just tiny little individual, almost like training treat sizes. But I know she'd prefer the larger cookies. It's so soft. Was not expecting this texture. Okay, what I'm going to do is get my sheet pan prepped with a little parchment paper first, and then we will take that out of the bowl. I'll just use one sheet for that. I'm going to fast forward and cut out some parts of this because I did attempt to use this particular dough in the silicone mold and it was hard to do. It didn't work, so I ended up using some water and it did work. So I did several different things and I'm going to show you the going towards the end result. On this first batch, I ended up just taking some water with my fingers and rubbing it across, making quite a mess. But I realized it is just what I needed to do. So when I made a second batch, which you'll see later, I mixed water and the dough in the bowl and it worked perfect. I did stop the camera for a little bit just so I could fill these holes. And what I ended up doing was using quite a bit of water, but I seem to have figured it out. Now, if they cook right, then we will have the process all set. So I'm just taking off some of the extra here and making sure it gets in the holes. I don't know why I keep going at this. It's not like she's gonna care what they look like. I do, for fun. All right, I have no idea how long we're gonna cook these for. So I will keep an eye on them. I'm still going to put it in on a cookie sheet and go from there. I have that batch of smalls in the oven and now I'm just going to make some cookies. So I'm absolutely multitasking here. So I took these out after 15 minutes and I first just kind of rolled it to see how well they came out. They came out so cute. Look at this. So like I said, 15 minutes. I wasn't sure how long to do them. I'll let them cool off. And yes, I tasted one and it smells like nothing. I mean, there's a little flavor to it. So at one point I'm going to do a little more research on something that will make it super delicious but super healthy for her. But this is exactly the size that I was looking for to go in her little treat jar. I'm so pleased at how that worked. That is hot. Yikes. Perfect. So I'm going to let those cool off a bit. Now I'm going to take the foil off of this. Let me just move this out of the way. Yeah, yikes. So this is all nice and steamed. Yum. Okay, and then this is going to go back in the 350 oven for another half hour without any cover. And then I'm going to put it into another pot to use the blender, or I will actually throw it in my Vitamix. Okay, for the littles, I did figure out that adding more water instead of, adding another egg or something, you're going to have to do it for, just what you're looking for. But I'm going to do it so it's a lighter paste. Not paste, but batter. I'm going to go as almost like a pancake batter, just a little bit thicker than that. Because what I'm finding is it allows me to put it on the tray here, and then I can draw it across with the pastry cutter. This is just one of these trays. She's going to have plenty of treats, and the money I saved from store-bought dog treats that I now know are healthy. Love this. I'm just waiting for Willow to wake up from a nap so she can try them. All right, this has been a multitasking day. It's already starting now to go into early evening, and I've gotten so much done today and I'm having so much fun. I love snow days. So what I'm working on right now is I'm finally going to get my paper whites planted. Now I usually do this in mid-January. This is kind of late for me, but I've been doing other things. And at this point I usually have some forsythia cut also here in the house to start forcing, but I'm not going to go out in the snow right now to do that. So I was trying to find something a little different this year to plant my paper whites in. I'm going to link them below, but I'm going to show you a quick shot here of some of my past paper white projects. I have had them in a very large urn. I have had them in bowls, my ironstone. I have had them in my silver Revereware bowls. I have had them in pottery. I've had them in china pots. So I've done a little this, little that. I've never put them in a basket. Now I found this, this still has the little tag on it, or it used to be tag. I found this while I was out thrifting. I saw it and it was up high. And luckily I was out shopping with Carla. I mentioned that last video, and she's taller than me. And she reached it, and I was so afraid she was going to take it, but she let me have it. And I got this not really thinking already about that point for paper whites. But once I got it home, I said this is going to be perfect, but I need to find a container to go inside. So I did go around my house and I found these square ones that I thought was going to be too big, and this one is too small. But I found out if I put one inside, and then I found also if I put a little plastic container with this one on top, it fits perfect. It's perfect. So now I can put the paper whites in here. I just need to make sure that I don't put water inside the basket area. And since this one is fairly deep, this still has some dirt in it, I am going to put some tin foil. I kind of shaped it for like the bottom. I'm going to raise it up a little bit so that I don't have to go back outside to the sugar shack to get the second bag I did not bring in. So I'm hoping I have enough here. I should. I think I might even add just another And if this is loose, the roots will go around it if need be, which should be fine. And I'm just now going to add my stones. And I don't know how many bulbs I'll fit here. I have, I think, 7. I grabbed an odd number. I think I grabbed 7. I don't remember. I was going to do 2 containers, but I decided to do 1. And then also I have this from my porch. These are bulbs that the landscapers dug up when they put in our walkway, and they put this on the porch. Now I have in here some tulips. I have some daffodils. I have some grape hyacinth, and I'm hoping I can plant the grape hyacinths here inside. It almost feels like they've rooted, so I'm going to do that probably in another container, maybe not today though. All right, so block your ears. This is going to be noisy and dusty. This is going to be a perfect amount with that tin foil. Okay. Now I don't have an overshot here right now, but once again, I'll try to cut in some of the other videos to show you what I'm doing. But I'm just going to take my bulb, pop them on the top here. Oh, this one has some nice roots. And I'm just putting them in just enough to get the root system that will go down inside the stones here. You can use clear glass marbles. They love it all. So I'm actually going to have more than I have space for in this basket, so I'll be able to do a couple other things with this. Now also in the sugar shack I didn't bring in, I have some sticks from the river birch from the Groton house that I have used in the past, because I love to put sticks in or willows in here so that when they grow I don't have to tie them to anything. They just kind of seem to lean against them. So I'll get that once we're outside after the snow stops. And I'm just going to try to get an odd number here. I like doing odd numbers when I'm working with florals. What's nice also about having space around the side, in the past I have done moss around the edge, and sometimes when that gets wet it can get a little moldy. So I've done pine cones around the edge, pine cones with moss to keep them up over a little bit, which that works. So I'm not sure what I'll do yet, but I do have some pine cones I can stick around the edge if need be. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is add water just so it's touching right at the bottom of that roots. Okay, and in past videos, if you are a long-time watcher, you know that I have also added gin. And what that does is it stunts the growth of the paperwhites so they don't get so tall, and it really did work. I can see it touching the bottom. There we go. Okay, and you want to make sure you don't go too much over where the roots are, because you don't want your bulb to rot. All right, so I have 5 and 3, and they will get a little more settled once their roots start. And I was hoping to get some of these in here, but with this being a small container, that's about it. And it looks kind of plain and bare, but right now I'm going to find a ribbon, put it around the basket. Tomorrow I'll either get pussy willows, which I do have in our loft, or the river birch sticks, and I will stick that in here just so that it's not plain. I've even done forsythia in the containers, but I like having the other ones a little bit more because they're straighter. All right, so I finally got these little guys planted. Finally. Now to find a place for it. So what I decided to do is I'm going to put it right into a covered pot, blend it, and then I'll put it back in the oven on warm, because we're still about an hour out from dinner time, and I figured I'll make it now, clean up the rest of the kitchen. I've been keeping up with most of it, and then once it's time for dinner, I'll be able to just take this right out of the oven and I'll be able to serve it. So what I'm going to do first is take out this little packet of herbs. I'm going to put it on the bottom and I'm going to squeeze it so that I can get most of those juices out. the delicious juices that I just got of this. The smell, oh, wonderful. But I'm gonna try to press out as much as I can, even if it takes me a little time here. And I should mention that this is a food grade for baking and cooking cheesecloth. And you know, if I bought it at the hardware store, I can't guarantee that it's ready to rock and roll to be used with cooking. I would have to wash it first. Okay, I'm just discard of this. I'm gonna get the larger pieces out first, and then I'll pour in the oil. Oops, I didn't see that last one, and I don't want it to plop on me because I don't have on my apron. Now, if you make this and it's a little too thick, which is, I like it when it's creamy, you could always put a little vegetable broth in. Oh, that's delicious. And yes, I could taste the jalapenos. Ben's gonna love it. It's a little hot for me, but delicious. Wine is in queue, but Willow is here. Let's see, I don't know if we should do a pumpkin cookie. Let's do a treat first. Want to do a treat? Oh, you like that. And how about a pumpkin cookie? I would say it's a success. She's looking for more. That's a good sign. I know I'm not the majority, but I am learning to thoroughly enjoy January. Snow, no snow, rain, because January is a time that we as humans, such as plants and animals, are supposed to be relaxing. It's a time for us to get our energy back and work on our souls. And here in January, I have a few traditions that I like to follow. One being the planting of our paperwhites. This year, I have them in a basket and a river birch that I've actually saved from Groton House. I love to bring in forsythia and force them so that green and yellow pops of color will be happening here in a few weeks. I am also drying out artichokes. The hopes are to be making a spring wreath. Now, this doesn't always work. Sometimes it goes awry, but if you put some artichokes standing upright so that the stems can get some air to them, you should have opening artichokes. I will insert a picture here of one I did in the past. And then I always have white tulips in the house for January. As soon as February rolls around, I'll be bringing in colorful tulips. What do you like about January? It's almost over. Think it through. Don't rush it. Time flies the older we get. Why not enjoy and embrace each month, each season, each day for what it is, and live life to the fullest? That's one of my goals.